This 20-year-old died of a rare disease just 5 hours after marrying the love of his life. Do us a favor and click that like button, also subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell to be inspired by this heartwarming stories several times a day. When Tristin, Laue and Tianna Hargrafen said their vows in the backyard of the Laue family residence in Waverly, Iowa, from a distance they made a fine couple. But a closer view would reveal that Tristin was sickly. Indeed, the 20-year-old was in fact gravely ill with a rare form of liver cancer. Tristin had enlisted in the United States Army National Guard after graduating high school, signing up in July 2016. However, on his return from boot camp, Tristin would receive some bad news. He discovered that he had febrile amyloid hepatocellular carcinoma, FLC, which is an uncommon type of liver cancer that tends to be found in teens and younger adults. The cancer saw Tristin receive his medical discharge from the National Guard in April 2018. However, the news wasn't all bad, since he had discovered a new love. Indeed, just as he was finishing up immunotherapy, he began to date Tianna. And the romance would soon blossom into something a bit more serious, even as Tristin began to suffer complications from his cancer. Tianna and Tristin had felt very well matched, and their bonding was strengthened because they both had a great love of dogs. Tianna's German Shepherd, who sports the moniker of Max, found a new admirer in Tristin, just as his mistress had. As if fated to be together, the pair also shared the same birthday, with Tristin a year senior to Tianna. And indeed, the couple fell deeply in love, to the point that in Easter 2019, Tristin felt ready to pop the question. Although her beau was ailing with the cancer, Tianna did not need asking twice. Then, on hearing that the pair had agreed to marry, Tristin's family got into action. And Tristin's family certainly didn't hang around. Indeed, they arranged the ceremony in quick order, and by 2 days after hearing that they had to prepare a wedding, everything was ready. As for Tristin, he wasn't going to hold back. And despite his illness, he was all set for the big day. As Tianna explained to KTVU, Tristin wanted nothing more than to get hitched to her. She told the Oakland, California, TV station in May 2019, "Tristin was just excited to be marrying me, so he was ready for it." Consequently, although he was very sick by then, the couple said their vows on April 27, 2019. Although born in Osage, Iowa, Tristin had grown up in Waverly, a small city in the Hawkeye State's northeast. There, he'd enjoyed life outdoors, taking part in boating, whizzing around on jet skis, and setting up camp with family and friends. He'd also been a keen shooter and gun collector. As we noted, Tristin served after high school in the National Guard, but his stint was cut short by his cancer diagnosis. He had been in the Army for less than 2 years when he was discharged, as he struggled with FLC, a cancer of the liver. Indeed, Tristin may have been sick for some time before his diagnosis. In their early days with it, lots of sufferers of FLC may not show any sign. And when they do have symptoms, they can be confused for those associated with more common diseases, since none points specifically to FLC. In fact, those symptoms are things such as not being hungry, losing some weight and a bit of pain in the stomach. Furthermore, a sufferer might feel a bit tired or generally unwell. And though the scarring and inflammation that are seen with other liver cancers isn't present, sometimes a lump can be felt if the liver is examined. Consequently, if a doctor does suspect FLC, they'll need to order some form of imaging to make a diagnosis. And CT or MRI scans and ultrasound will typically be used to find the cancer and decide how far along it is. FLC is so different from other liver cancers, however, that doctors cannot spot it through the signal of high serum alpha fetoprotein. Indeed, FLC is altogether quite a mystery. Whereas other liver cancers can arise after the liver is damaged through alcohol abuse or from such things as autoimmune disease or viral infection, FLC's cause hasn't been pinpointed. However, research does suggest that a gene deletion might be involved. Though interestingly, this happens during a lifetime and the deletion isn't inherited. Unfortunately, the lack of symptoms that clearly point to FLC and difficulty in diagnosing it mean that it's often found only after it has spread. In these cases, patients have a very poor outlook. And chemotherapy is no help in FLC, leaving only one option for treatment: having the tumor cut out. In some cases, the whole liver has to be removed, so some patients require a liver transplant. However, if it's caught early enough, the affected part of the liver can be taken out. And after that has been done, there are good prospects for the person who has FLC. Indeed, The prognosis is better for those who have FLC than it would be if they had another sort of liver cancer. More than half the people who have surgery to remove the FLC survive for 5 years or longer. Without the surgery, a sufferer may live for a bit more than a year. Interestingly, a special property of the liver will come into play after surgery. Yes, it's the body's only organ with the ability to regenerate. Consequently, if the surgery is a success, no long-term harm will be done. This means the liver will regain normal function after about 3 weeks, and will return to its former size within 6 months. Nonetheless, FLC is a serious disease, and Tristin suffered complications after treatment. It hasn't been revealed precisely what they were, but certainly Tristin would sicken over the months after pairing up with Tianna. And by March 2019 they would receive the terrible news that there would be no further treatment for him. Nevertheless, Tristin had been looking forward. During 2018 he had signed up to study at the University of Northern Iowa. Indeed, he was taking a degree in engineering design, and his heart was set on excelling at school. His family explained that he had been very goal-oriented and had a bright future ahead of him. Alongside his studies and his job at Ronin Industries, where he made a name for himself as a problem solver, Tristin also had a new girlfriend to fill his life. And Tianna would tell KTVU how highly intelligent Tristin had been. She said that when they had enjoyed watching Jeopardy together, he'd almost always figure out the questions. After receiving the news of his outlook, Tristin started to think about what he really wanted from what was left of his life. And one thing seemed to be clear to him as his last wish. He became determined to wed his beloved girlfriend Tianna. However, Tristin was not certain that Tianna would agree that it was in her interests to grant that wish. He explained to her that he wanted to be certain that she shared that desire, because by now he was very sick. Tianna told KTVU that Tristin had wanted to be fair to me. In fact, Tristin need not have worried, because Tianna was keen on the marriage herself. She explained her feelings to KTVU, saying, "And I said of course I wanted to marry him. I always told him it wasn't that easy to get rid of me, so I'd always be there." As it happens, Tristin had hoped to make their shared birthday, May 11, the day of their wedding. The progress of his disease, however, had made it clear that speed was of the essence. Furthermore, the Wednesday after his proposal, his family got news that prompted them to hasten. Consequently, Tristin's family got busy and the community backed them up. Using social media and text messages, they shared ideas about dresses, catering, shelter for the backyard wedding and snappers for the wedding photos. And in a couple of days, everything was set for the marriage in the Tristin's family's own backyard. Snow lay on the ground around the tent as the couple and family and friends gathered. Meanwhile, beautifully dressed bridesmaids looked on with devotion, tears glistening, as the pair exchanged vows and rings. Behind Tristin's bed, where he rested warm against a spring chill, stood an honor guard of male friends. Tianna's adoration is clear to see in footage shared by KWWL. She is sporting a full trousseau, including veil, and clutching her beloved's hand. Meanwhile, Tristin belies his condition with a heartwarming smile, clearly delighted that his heart's last desire has been fulfilled. The 40 or so guests then applaud and there's a hug for the bride. A while later, Tianna would share her feelings during the wedding with KTVU. She told the TV station in May 2019, "When I met him at the end of the aisle we looked at each other, and he smiled in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. I got teary-eyed and could hear the bridesmaids breaking down." Meanwhile, Tianna told KWWL in May 2019 how she felt about the guests that had turned up to the wedding. She said, "It's incredible really, it just showed how many people cared about him, and wanted him to be happy." And she too was moved by the moment. She told KTVU, "I knew no matter what I'd always love him, and he'd always love me." Around the same time as the ceremony, representatives of Tristin's university handed him a certificate for his final semester. One of the university's agents shared with him how impressed she had been by his bearing. She said, "Just the way you conduct and carry yourself. I was like, wow, this is officer material." Sadly, for Tristin, whose smile warmed Tianna's and their guests' hearts at the ceremony, married life would be all too short. Within scant hours of his wedding, he had succumbed to his disease. But he left his widow glad that she had been able to make his last act happy and full of love. Indeed, Tianna shared with KWWL her belief that you have to make the most of the time that you have. She told the station, "Make sure you tell people you love them, because you never know when you'll be able to, and just make sure you cherish every day. Even if they're having a rough day or getting really upset." Even though the couple's time together had been short, Tianna took comfort from the power of their relationship. She told KWWL, "He's the love of my life. Even like talking to my mom and everything." She said some people don't get what you two had in the amount of time, like they'll be together for years, and still not have the same connection that you guys did. On top of that, Tianna also felt that Tristin would have liked to know that his story had gone viral. She told local paper The Courier in May 2019, "He wanted our wedding to be big." The young widow explained, "It's comforting to think he's looking down and seeing how many people know a little bit of him now, and even if it wasn't in the exact same way he wanted, he got his wish." A week later, Tianna had to attend another ceremony, this time one that would be a lot sadder. Tristin was laid to rest at Waverly's Harlington Cemetery. An honor guard saluted the veteran, as did many who contributed to the online report of his death at his funeral director's website. Meanwhile, a classmate from New Hampton High School opened a crowdfunding site for Tristin. For its part, it aims to pay for a memorial bench in his honor and add his name to the Chickasaw Legacy Pathway. The fundraiser urges people to help us remember a great Chickasaw who brought laughter and kindness to us all. Within 3 weeks, the fundraiser had exceeded $5,000 and received many comments that paid tribute to Tristin. Some came from fellow sufferers from cancer, some from veterans, and some from those who were both. One said, "Hello, I am so sorry that y'all lost him, and I only hope that you can feel better over time. I also served in the military 5 years ago, and I'm dealing with stage 4 cancer right now that was removed from my brain." At the same time, when Tianna posted a wedding photo on Facebook, commenters shared how it had made them feel. A relation of Tristin's, Laue, said, "Thanks for joining our family and loving him through all of this. You're truly a fighter just like our Tristin." While another commenter noted how happy Tristin had looked and said, "You definitely made his day." Now Tianna must face a future without the man she told KTVU was the best thing ever to happen to her. She continued, "I feel blessed to have loved and been loved by such an amazing brave man. Her memory will be of a short but happy relationship in which the two never went to bed angry." Tristin's aunt, Kelly Larson, summed up his story in a May 2019 Facebook post. She wrote, "Tristin's story reminds me of grace, of the power of love, of beauty in the hardest times, of not giving up and embracing what there is to embrace in life." She concluded, "Whatever you take from this story, I hope it inspires something of life and love in your heart today." We hope you enjoyed the video. Please let us know which one of the stories you found the most interesting. And if you like the video, please click on the subscription button and turn on notification, so you will be the first to know when we put out a new video. We thank you for watching and we hope to see you next time.